What's up, Crossbones Nation? It's Wednesday. It's not just hump day. It's time for 5 rounds with John and Eddie. But before we get right into the show, let's talk about some of the people that help us out. So we want to help Amazon.com. They sell books. So if you need it, you can find it. Do anything different. So if it costs you $5, back with their site a little bit. So check out Amazon.com on the Crossbones MMA website and help the website, help the podcast, and help us out, all by doing your normal everyday stuff. We're also hooked up with F3 Foods. F3 Foods is a subscription-based food company where you can go online and you can create an entire menu for yourself. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. And the beauty of this thing is they send this stuff right to your door. This is prepackaged food that's good for you, tastes great, and it's going to get you moving in the right direction when it comes to your health. It's all natural stuff. It's all healthy for you. And this is going to work on not only portion control, but the correct amount of calories that you want to take in. They do all the work and take all the guesswork out of cooking. So make sure you guys check that out by clicking on the F3 Foods banner, the Get Fit banner on CrossbonesMMA.com, and they're going to help you out there. We have one more, and that's Troxafen.com or TrueDerma.com. Troxafen is a male supplement that helps boost free testosterone levels in the body. That's going to improve your muscle tone, reduce body fat, and it's going to give you extra energy. That's Troxafen. If you go to TrueDerma.com, they have a ton of different supplements that's geared not just for men but for women also. So it's kind of the general site, but Troxafen is a specific one for that supplement. I take it every day. It helps me maintain my muscle mass, helps me keep my body fat down, and it gives me energy not just here for the show, but my everyday life as well. And with 3 kids running around, trust me, you're going to need that energy. And if you don't have kids yet, you will, so you might as well start taking it now. So make sure that you guys check out the Troxafen banner on the store and affiliates page on CrossbonesMMA.com. But we got a great show today. We're going to talk about this guy, Phoenix Jones. We're going to talk about CM Punk being a natural striker. Ronda Rousey in the men's pound-for-pound ranking. Does she belong there? One fighter says she doesn't. Mark Munoz plans on retiring after fighting in the Philippines. And, of course, we're going to preview UFC 185. So without any further delay, let's get to my partner in crime today, Nick Palicki. Nick, what's going on over there, man?
Nothing, just hanging out, enjoying my day off as usual, and ready to do the show. But I know, how's the weather up there doing for you? Is it in the high 30s yet, or is it still below?
Let me tell you, it's freaking insane here right now because it's 49.7 degrees. It's almost 50 degrees, and people are acting like it's like 80 degrees. But it's funny that you brought that up because I was actually thinking about this earlier today. People in the Northeast are not normal creatures, man. They're really not. Now, you're from Philly, so you know this.
Yeah.
But they just, being in the sun when the warmth is there, it helps you. You're happy. You know, people up in the Northeast are constantly cranky bitches because the cold weather sets in and nobody's happy about it. People are in like such better mood today because it's nice out, it's warmer out, a light jacket you can get away with instead of, bundling up in your winter parka. And it just got me thinking, all you guys out there in the West with Eddie, and, you're now in the South down in Texas, you guys got it going on. You got your heads screwed on straight. Us up here in the Northeast, freaking retards, man. I'm telling you, not the place to be. It's not normal for people to having to stay inside for 8-9 months at a time. It's just not healthy. It's ridiculous. But I'm sure down there by you, it's 50 would be cold. You guys would be breaking out your long johns and your parkas if you guys hit 50. Here on our side, we're celebrating at this point. So, but what is it like down there with you guys today?
Right now, it's about maybe 67 degrees, and everyone's outside in jackets saying it's too cold. And I'm like, no, I'm outside just having fun in a t-shirt and shorts. So it's not that bad. But I have family that lives in Northeast Pennsylvania, and they're posting pictures on Facebook with them in tank tops and shorts standing outside. So I think that's really funny that it's, like you said, almost 60 degrees outside, and they're outside in shorts and everything, just acting like it's super hot. So, but I'm enjoying it down here in the South. It's a lot
Oh,
better.
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, both my parents and my in-laws, they both they snowbird. They head to Florida all summer and then come back, or excuse me, all winter and come back up there in the summer. Uh, and it's funny to me because when they come back up, it's like 70, 75 degrees, and they got like their fireplaces going. They got like winter jackets on, you know. But for us, we're like moving into the nice weather, so it's a good change.
Yeah.
But you know, hopefully one day, that's the goal. One day is to be either, you know, southern United States or you know, western United States, somewhere where it's warm for 9 months out of the year. And we don't. I'm not into this whole multiple season thing. I'm totally down with just one season. So, but let's talk about, because we were talking about this a little bit, you know, before we came on the air. But there's this guy, and the ESPN did a cover story of or on him, Phoenix Jones. I'm not even sure if that's his real name. It could be like a made up name. But Phoenix Jones is an MMA fighter who actually just recently signed with the World Series of Poker. World Series of Poker. What the fuck, dude? Gotta focus. Oh my God, World Series of Fighting. And but this guy in his spare time dresses up in costume and patrols the streets and fights crime. And there's actually a video, I think, Eddie, who obviously is not here with us today, are our backbone support, you know, out there making money today, so more power to him. But this guy is, there's a video of him, like him getting into a fight and cops watching this happen and being okay with this happening. Now, you know a little bit more about this than I do, so I'm going to throw it over to you. What's the story here with Phoenix Jones?
All right, so Phoenix Jones, his real name is Ben Fonder. He walks around the streets of why can I remember? I think it's Phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix. Is it Phoenix, Arizona? I'm not sure. I'm actually pretty not sure on where it is. But he dresses up in a full superhero costume. It's black and yellow. He has a mask, a whole outfit, and everything. He walks around the streets and fighting crime. He'll help out with some needy people. He'll help out with homeless shelters and everything like that. But when it does come down to the occasional, I need to tackle someone because they stole their purse, he does it. He actually goes out and does it. And if you ever seen the movie Kick-Ass, it's basically that in real life. We have that finally in real life, and it's really weird. He is a full-time MMA fighter as well. Like you said, he just signed with World Series of Fighting. His brother actually is the one championship fighter, the current one championship fighter, Carlos Fonder. It's really weird to see a 26-year-old man in a costume running around the streets fighting crime and saying he's an MMA fighter. And I don't know. I kind of like it. It's kind of weird, but it is kind of cool at the same time. But you're 26 years old. I think you should do something other than fighting crime. I think you should just stick to MMA. You're 26. You're an adult. You're going to die. Eventually, someone's going to just have enough and either pull a gun on you or something like that. And that's not something that you want to happen at a young age of 26. But he, like you said, he just got recently signed by World Series of Fighting. And he posted on his Twitter, I literally got contracts from every fighting organization. I cannot think of what is in my hands right now. Apparently, he had offers from Bellator, WSOF, ONE FC. I don't know about the UFC though, but he did end up signing with World Series of Fighting, and I'm kind of interested in seeing this guy in the cage. I've seen some of his amateur fights and some of his other pro fights. He's actually really good. There is a video of him though in a street fight defending someone or beating up some mugger, and the cops are just standing back watching it. And the cops did not get in trouble for that. He did not get in trouble for it or anything like that. It's really weird to see it, but it's actually pretty cool too. So now we have like kind of like an alter ego in the cage right now, and a kind of a real life superhero.
Yeah, but you know, here's the thing with this, and vigilantism is an illegal activity.
It is.
You know, I mean, that's essentially what this guy is. He's taking, you know, like all these comic books and superheroes, and you know, he's trying to bring it in real life. And I get it. You know, in New York and I believe other cities, but I know specifically in New York, there was a group called the Guardian Angels, which walked around. It was a civilian patrol that basically upheld peace and the law, and tried to help out and all that. But even they got in over their heads sometimes, and I knew a couple of them, and they used to tell me crazy stories, and it's just not something that I think people really need to do. I mean, that's what we have law enforcement for. This guy, the fact that he got into a street fight, and whether it was for good reason, bad reason, whatever the reason, and the cops stood and watched, that's not only a shame on his part, but that's a shame on the cops' part as well. I mean, think about what just happened. He's a trained fighter. He's physically in an altercation with somebody. That guy is now open to turn around and sue him and the police department because he was assaulted by a physically trained athlete. It just leaves bad opportunities, bad things could happen. Not to mention this guy's own personal safety, which the police are supposed to be there to protect and to serve. Protect means not only from others, but it means protect you from yourself as well. You go to do something stupid, they're supposed to stop you. Getting into an altercation in the street is a stupid thing to do. So this is definitely something that they should have stepped in. This is an opportunity where they could have stopped it and said, listen, this is not going to be tolerated. But instead they let it go, which is going to, unfortunately, I think, and we've seen it in the movies, and I hate to be like dramatic like that, but are we going to get copycat people that then start to try to start put on their own costume, and go out there and fight crime? This just is all around leaves a bad opportunity for people to get hurt, and it's weird that an organization like ESPN would make a celebrity out of him by creating a special for him. It's strange that the police department isn't stopping or stepping in if something happens. It's great that he got signed, and you know what, it's just going to raise his visibility, but it's too many of these guys get hurt during training. What if this guy gets hurt prior to his fight because he was trying to stop a mugger or stop an armed robbery? This guy just got to start thinking. And I know you said he's 26, and I can tell you this: at 26, I wasn't making the greatest decisions. But this guy needs people around him that are going to tell him, you can't be doing this. You gotta be smarter about this.
Yeah, and I know he was arrested for assault at one point, but then released because the charges got dropped. But like you said, ESPN put an 11-minute segment on this guy who just wants, in my opinion, attention, and he fights crime. And this is the city; it's in Seattle, and everything like that. It's just really weird. And like you said, he might attract other people to put on costumes and walk around. And in the segment, he does. There's actually, I think, 4 or 5 people that walk with him sometimes that help him. It's ridiculous. You're going to get someone hurt or more killed in that aspect. You just should be a regular martial artist. If you see something that you see indeed is wrong, then you can do it. Don't put on a mask and walk the streets like a superhero. Be a real martial artist. If you see someone that needs help, and not necessarily you have to fight somebody, but give your care to them in that way as a martial artist. Don't put on a suit and walk around the streets and say that, oh, I'm a superhero because I know martial arts, because that's not what the martial arts is all about.
Could you fucking imagine walking down the street and seeing like people in costumes coming down? Like, I don't know, man. Like, being from New York, you see weird shit, but I think I would not be able to, have the mental capacity to function properly if I saw these people walking down the street like that. I think just, it's just absurd. Just absurd. I really don't understand people and what the world is coming to when this is acceptable behavior that not only people are, not getting in the way of, but people are copycatting and, getting their own costumes. It's just, the most asinine thing I've heard in a long time, but it doesn't shock me. It's just crazy. Craziness out there, I'm telling you. But, we got real fighters that we gotta touch on here. And one of the real fighters, or somebody who's trying to become a real fighter, quote unquote, is CM Punk. Now, CM Punk is a polarizing figure in the mixed martial arts world right now, and the guy hasn't even had a fight yet, and people either love him or hate him. They can't wait to see him get in there, or they hope he never gets in there. Uh, I know you said it earlier. I'm not sure you said it here or before we came on the air, but people are starting to slowly turn. At first they were vehemently like, I don't want to see this guy. This is a freaking joke. And now they're kind of like you, where you're getting curious about it. And now his coach, Duke Rufus, who is a phenomenal striking coach in his own right, incredibly talented kickboxer, has come out and said that CM Punk or Phil Davis is a natural striker. What do you think when somebody says that?
Anybody is a natural striker. Anyone can clench up their fist and punch someone in the face. Anyone can be natural. Now, is he really good at striking? Can he hit the pads? Can he dodge and move? Does he have the actual boxing skills? I don't know about that. I haven't seen any video footage on it. We did get to see a little sneak peek of him on, I think, the last embedded series for the upcoming UFC pay-per-view 185 this weekend, and he was rolling around, but we already know that CM Punk does jiu-jitsu. We already know that he is a white belt for life in his own words. But a natural striker, anybody can be a natural striker. I can put on boxing gloves and run and punch someone in the face or punch pads and everything like that. Now, is he a natural striker with someone sparring with him and someone punching back? We don't know that yet. We haven't seen any footage of him actually sparring. But if Duke Rufus, 45-year-old Duke Rufus, is saying that he is a natural striker, and Duke Rufus trains these fighters that, as of the champion Anthony Pettis, his brother Sergio Pettis, everyone, Ben Askren, everyone down there, I got to give him a little bit of credit. Let's see. I want to see some footage of it. I want to see how his striking really is. Apparently, yeah, he's a natural striker, and he did a scrimmage last week, but I want to see it. Apparently he didn't freak out and he didn't panic, but like I said, it is a sparring match. You don't freak. If you're freaking out in a sparring match, you should not be stepping into the cage at all or thinking about MMA. If you're sparring with someone, it's a controlled environment and everything like that. But as a natural striker, I don't know, but I am intrigued. I do want to see CM Punk in the ring. I'm liking what all these fighters are coming out and saying, that Ben Askren apologized to him and said that he's actually really good. Seeing Anthony Pettis saying that he rolls with him and says that he's actually pretty decent and he's learning. He's always in the gym. He's always really early trying to get his nose into everyone and trying to get into every training practice that he can. And I kind of like that. So I'm kind of interested to see what Phil Brooks really does inside the octagon.
Yeah, and I've spoken with some of the fighters out of Rufus Sport, and they all say the same thing, that he's doing what he needs to do. He's coming in, he's working hard, he's focused on what he needs to do to improve. He's not just resting on his laurels like, I'm CM Punk, I'm going to be an immediate draw. He's trying to make the most out of this situation, so I respect that. Now, he is a natural, and well, maybe not natural, but he is a well-conditioned athlete, and he's extremely athletic. For all the negative connotations that people have about WWE wrestling and fake wrestling, these guys are phenomenal athletes. Think about the beating their bodies take. Think about the extreme moves and maneuvers they do. Think about the shape their bodies are in. I mean, obviously you have guys like who's the dude with the sock? Mankind, I think.
Mankind, yeah.
He's Nick Foley. Or Mick Foley. He obviously wasn't in the best of shape, but the majority of these guys are ridiculous athletes. So I guarantee he's athletic, and I guarantee he's picking things up. But it is intriguing to me, without a doubt, when somebody who has the background that Duke Rufus has comes out and says that this guy is a natural striker. For somebody outside of the business to say that, I think they're kind of going with what you're saying. Like, anybody can throw a strike, anybody can throw a punch. When somebody who has his background and his acumen for the sport, I think what he's saying is he's got that natural flow. He's got that good technique. He throws decent combinations. Obviously, without getting in depth and speaking directly to Duke and asking him what he said about or what he meant by saying that, or like you were saying, seeing it in person, live and up front, it's definitely still something that we have to wait and see. But everything that I've been hearing is that he's doing like I said, doing the right things, and he's coming along. And every time I talk to a fighter and do an interview with a fighter from Rufus-Sport, I ask them about CM Punk. I don't do it on the record because I don't want these guys to feel like they have to give me that, politically correct statement. Oh, he's a great teammate, and blah, blah. So I want to get the actual, this is what he's doing. And like I said, from top to bottom, every single one it talks about, how hard of a worker he is, how focused he is when he's at the gym. He's not taking anything for granted. He's doing what he needs to do, and that's or refreshing, I should say. And it does make me want to, see what happens. And I think, I could be wrong, but I thought I read somewhere that they've actually decided that he's going to make his debut at welterweight. Did you see anything about that?
Yeah, I did read that they came out with a statement saying that he's going to fight at welterweight, and that is a crazy stacked division, especially for an up-and-comer. But I don't know. Will he make a title run? I don't think so, but I don't even know. Welterweight, I thought he would do middleweight. Middleweight seems like a more, not easier, but better class for CM Punk at how big he is. He is a big dude. He's not this tiny, tiny dude that you see in like wrestling when he was next to like the Big Show and all these huge, huge athletes. But he is a big guy, and I would like to see him in middleweight. But welterweight, let's see, maybe he can do it. Maybe he can take people on the ground and use his jiu-jitsu or use his natural-born striking that he has. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, and he could be thinking about that. When he talks about making that debut at welterweight, is because he's got a little bit of a bigger stature. We talk about these guys that are looking to cut weight. Possibly give himself that advantage of being the bigger guy in the cage that night. But I don't think, I think everybody's in agreement, or at least shares an opinion that he's never going to make a title run. If he comes in and he has one fight and wins, or one fight and loses, and says, you know what, I did what I came to do. I wanted to test myself in there, and I lost. Obviously, I can't hang with these guys. But you know what, I gave my all. Good for him, man. Like, you know what? People don't get that opportunity. You come in and wins a couple of fights, good for him, man. People don't get that opportunity. This is like a no-lose situation for him. It's also kind of like a no-win situation for him, if you think about it. Because if he comes in against a legitimate opponent, somebody who's been training for years, and he loses, everyone's just going to say, you know what? This is why these WWE guys should stick to the WWE. They don't belong in the UFC. All that. If he comes in and wins, people are going to be like, the UFC fed him a schlep to get him over, and they hand fed him a win, but if he was in there against a real fighter, so this guy is in a no-win situation in that sense, but he's in a no-lose situation also, because financially he's already set. He's got nothing to prove to anybody. He's doing this for himself. So, he might turn around. He might never fight. He might get into a crazy sparring match at Rufus-Sport and go, you know what? I can't do this shit, man. Like, this is beyond me at this point. So who knows? But, I applaud the guy for giving it a shot. If I had the opportunity, what the hell, man? Why not? If you can, why not? You can't fault a guy for taking advantage of the things that he's worked for. And you know what? He's worked for the celebrity he has. He's worked for the money he has. He's worked for the talent he has. So you can't fault him for using that. It's the same thing as every other fighter. Kimbo Slice, nobody faulted him for using that celebrity to work his way into the UFC and now Bellator and all that. It's the same thing. He had backyard fights. They're real. I get that. But you can't fault these guys for using the opportunities and the tools around them to create new opportunities for themselves. Whatever, man. That's your thing. I wish you the best. Hopefully, it'll turn out well for you. But we'll have to find out. Will he ever be a champion? Probably not. Will he ever be ranked for pound? Probably not. But somebody who is ranked pound for pound and is kind of getting some heat for it is Ronda Rousey. Now, we've talked about the pound for pound rankings before. Eddie can't stand them. They're irrelevant. It's definitely kind of a silly thing to have the pound for pound rankings because you're never going to see, people in different divisions fight off. You might see a super fight like we had with Diaz and Silva, where they one guy moves up, one guy moves down, or they meet at a catch weight, But realistically, you're never going to see any of these, pound for pound guys. Now, Ronda being in there, to me, is fine because, like we just said, this is an imaginary ranking system. So why not have her in there? But a female fighter who's actually looking to get in the cage with Ronda says that she should not be ranked pound for pound next to the guys. Who is that, Nick?
Jessica Eye, apparently the next contender for Ronda Rousey's title. Not set in stone yet, but that's apparently what they're reporting, that Jessica Eye will face Ronda Rousey. But Ronda Rousey did it, or not Ronda Rousey, Jessica Eye did an interview this week, and she said that I don't ever want the men to feel like I'm competition with them and in the pound for pound, and she doesn't think that she should be in the pound for pound rankings at all with her. She said that Ronda Rousey might fare good against some of her male colleagues, but not all of them. And she thinks all the male colleagues can eventually beat her in every way. And in my opinion, no, I don't think that. I think Ronda Rousey can take on most of the guys, but we do have the weight classes. That's why we do have the weight classes. Ronda Rousey's a bantamweight. Do I think she can take on some of the male bantamweights? Yes. Do I think she can take on any of the weight classes lower than them? Yes. Do I think any above? Maybe one or two, but not all of them. I don't think we're going to put her against a Cain Velasquez, a John Jones, a Chris Weidman, but if she fares against anyone lower than that, yeah, I think she can put up a good fight. Now, Jessica, I did say like they have testosterone. We're women. We have estrogen. That's a difference in that fact. Yeah, that's a difference. But if you have a judoka named Ronda Rousey throwing you on your head, all that goes out the window. And if she's putting you in an arm bar and your arm's popping, all that goes out the window. Do I think Ronda Rousey does deserve to be on the pound for pound rankings, even though they're super crazy? Yeah, I do, because I think she's a top champion. I don't see the pound for pound rankings as pound for pound, you're the best at your weight class. Obviously, she's the best at her weight class, and maybe a weight class above or below her. But I think it should be like a champions ranking. Like, okay, is she the best champion? Yes, I think she's one of the best champions. Who do I think is the best champion? Mighty Mouse, but that's my opinion. I think the best champion right now, she could be one or two. I don't like the pound for pound rankings. We all set our agreements on the pound for pound rankings, but I think Jessica Eye does have a point that Ronda Rousey can't fare against all the male athletes in the UFC, but she can I believe she can fight most of them and fare and do pretty good against most of them. But I don't know, Jessica Eye, I don't know what she's trying to get her point across with this. If that maybe she's scared of Ronda Rousey, or that she thinks everyone's beatable, which everyone is beatable. We've seen it with Renan Barão, TJ Dillashaw. We've seen it with Chris Weidman, Anderson Silva. But I don't know why she decided to come out with this statement in her interview and everything like that. But it's really weird to bring it up. But it is a question that everyone's asking. Can she beat some of the guys? And actually, me and Eddie were talking about it a little while ago. I'd like to see her fight some of the guys, but not in the UFC. Maybe in Metamoris. Have her fight like a Chris Weidman, or have a role with a Chris Weidman and Metamoris in a jiu-jitsu tournament or something like that. But in an MMA fight, we'll never see it. We'll never see it. We'll never get to see her face one of the guys, maybe in a sparring session, yes. But just let the pound for pound rankings be alone. She should be on there. She's a dominant champion. She's a dominant fighter, and I do believe she can beat some of the guys.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said this towards the end of that statement there. But let's just be clear. She will never step in the cage with a male opponent. No sanctioning body in the world would ever sanction that fight. It's never going to happen. So let's just put that to rest right now. But the question of if she could fight and beat a guy comes out because at this point, there's no competition really for her in her division. There's no competition for her in the world of women's martial arts outside of the highly, contestable Cyborg, but Cyborg's not an option right now. So, when all else fails, people are going to ask questions just to ask that question. Every time Ronda fights, we hear and we ask, could she beat this guy? Could she beat that guy? The only reason is because there's no other women that are, worthy of being asked that question. I think Jessica I, looking to get into that cage with Ronda and get her shot at the title, is going to do more of this. She's going to come out and make more statements where she's questioning or talking about Ronda because it puts her in a conversation with Ronda. We're having one right now. We're having a conversation about Ronda Rousey, but it's predicated around Jessica I's comments. So she's achieving what she wants. She's getting us to talk about her and Ronda in the same sentence. Now, is that a crazy thing? No, absolutely not. She's, a phenomenal fighter in her own right. Damn near knocked that girl's freaking ear off her head. And so it's definitely a fight that will probably get made down the line. I don't think it's what's next for Ronda. I think there's other fighters that will come before Jessica gets in there. But the whole thing with the pound for pound rankings is it's an imaginary thing. It's something just for people to be able to compare the the greats of this time to each other. It's kind of like, in other sports they have, well, would the 77 Yankees beat the 65 Yankees. I don't even know if those fucking teams are good or not. I couldn't tell you, but you know what I'm saying. Like, who's the best defense in the NFL? The 2000 Ravens or the 85 Bears? That's kind of like a pound for pound rankings, system, and that's what basically and essentially we're looking at here with the pound for pound. When we look at the weight, the actual rankings within each weight division, we get a better idea of how fighters stack up against each other. But let's be honest, even that is a bullshit thing because it's writers, choosing the rankings and voting on, who's ranked where. And you and I discuss it, and we've done it on the ranking show. There's fighters that their rank moves and they haven't fought, or they have a fight coming up, and somebody who hasn't fought moves up, So it's all based on, how I feel about this fighter today. How I didn't like that pitch they posted on Instagram. I'm dropping them from 10 to from 9 to 10, and that's the bullshit, and that's where a lot of people were upset with how the Reebok deal is going to work with the whole, the rankings paying people, because I can affect what they, how Jessica I gets paid. If I'm like, what, she's ranked 5th, but I'm going to move her to 6th. I just messed with this girl's money, and that's not someplace press should ever be. There should be, if that's even a system that they get paid on, then it needs to be done by an independent third party, because it's affecting people's income. You can't have biased parties that are swayed with, what, I'm totally down with jiu-jitsu fighters. I enjoy ground fights. I enjoy when, refs like Herb Dean or Big John McCarthy let guys roll a little bit longer, because I can appreciate what's happening on the ground. But you get some of these refs that, or you get another guy who has a say in the rankings, and he's like, what, I want to see people stand and bang. I want to see people standing up exchanging. These ground fighters suck. So what's going to happen? He's going to take a wrestler, whether it's a high-level wrestler or whatever, and he's going to move him behind a striker. So it becomes kind of a, I like this and you like that, but we can't agree on where people actually are. But that's neither here nor there for now. That's a whole separate subject. So I apologize for the tangent, but should she be ranked side for side with men in the pound for pound rankings? Absolutely. That's what they're there for. It's to allow people in different divisions to be ranked side by side. If we're talking, women's, can we rank just men? Absolutely. Can we rank just women? Sure. Can we rank them by weight divisions? We do it now. Why not? So it's all hearsay. It's all opinion. It's all subjective. It's nothing, that anybody is held to or, locked into. But yeah, that's just me. I don't see why she can't be. I think this is just Jessica's way of getting herself into that conversation, getting herself back in the spotlight, which I'm not saying is wrong. She's doing what she needs to do. We've seen people in the past work their way and talk their way into championship fights. She's doing what she needs to do. She's promoting herself. But I don't think it's really that big of a deal.
No, not at all. And it's the rankings is so crazy. Like this is what I'm just gonna end it on and just let the fans debate on it, and maybe we can debate on it right now. The women's bantamweight division rankings right now, of course, you got Ronda Rousey on top, but we have Reneau who beat Jessica Andrade, submitted Jessica Andrade. Andrade is ranked number 11. Reneau is ranked number 12. Reneau dropped down 2 spots because Holly Holm went up 3 spots. Holly Holm didn't have that impressive win against Raquel Pennington. It was a close, good fight, but I don't think she should have jumped up from 15 to 10 or from 13 to 10. But that's just how crazy the rankings are. You have someone that actually finishes a fighter and gets dropped down 2 spots and is still ranked below the person she finished, and then we have a person who did a very not so very good win against Raquel Pennington and Holly Holm and move up 3 spots. That's how crazy the rankings are. I don't pay attention to the rankings that much. I just do it just to see who's the up-and-coming fighters of the division.
Yeah, well, it's even crazier than that, though, when you really get down to it. Holly Holm moved above Raquel Pennington prior to their fight. So prior to her UFC debut, Raquel Pennington was, I'm trying to remember now, was I think 12th. Holly Holm was 14th. And then Holly Holm became 12th and Raquel Pennington moved to 13. So before they even fought, before Holly stepped into the cage for the first time, she was leapfrogging people. Based on what? Nothing. Based on, I think she's going to do good. I'm going to rank her. I think she's a better fighter than this person is, even though we've never seen it. She could have came in, saw the big lights, looked around, and passed out, and we'd never see her back in the cage again. But, she got in there, she fought, she definitely was jittery. But, it's all subjective. It's all crap when it comes down to it, really.
Yeah.
It's how, I like the way she looks. She's prettier than this one is, or, she's got, a better stand-up game than this one. She's got a better ground game than this one. It's all subjective. It's all garbage when it comes down to it. The only way to really do this is to have them get in the cage. And seeing that, automatically number 2 doesn't fight number 1 to find out who's facing the champion. We don't have, 10 fighting 9 and so on and so forth to determine that next person. You don't move up the rankings like that. So really they're for the average fan, they're for the person who, the fleeting fan, so to speak. So that way when they're at a bar, they're at somebody's house, they're watching a fight, and, the fight marquee comes up and it says the number 3 ranked fighter against the number 1, everybody else knows who these guys are, where they rank with, the others in their division. To me, that's more for the casual fan than anything else. But, moving on from there, when we sorry, so I just saw something here and I'm reading it, so I kind of got sidetracked. But moving on from the pound-for-pound rankings, we're going to talk about Mark Munoz. Mark Munoz, who recently suffered a bad defeat at the hands of Juan Carnero, is set to fight one more time. He's going to fight Luke Barnett in Manila, which I believe was one of his goals in his career, was to fight in Manila. If I'm mistaken, I believe he's Filipino, so I could be totally off base on that, but I think that's, if I remember right. But he's already said that he's going to retire following this fight. This worries me when it comes to Mark Munoz because he hasn't had the greatest of outings and the greatest of outcomes in his recent fights. And knowing ahead of time that you're already going to retire, to me, you're checking out before it goes down. And that's a dangerous thing. The saying out there is, if you're thinking about retiring, you're already retired. You can't be, I think I'm going to do it, I think I'm going to do it, or I'm definitely going to retire as of this day, because you know what? You're not willing to push yourself. There's no further drive. There's no push for what's after that fight, so you need to be at the top of your game. it's one of those, you know what, it's my last thing. I'll do what I need to do, and that'll be it. You know what? That tends not to be enough. So it worries me with Mark's recent outings that he's already thinking about or has already announced that this is going to be his retirement fight. This could go terribly wrong for him, and I'm not talking like, physical injury or any bodily harm, but this could be terribly, just go terribly wrong for him when it comes to fighting Luke Barnett in Manila.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and my hat's off to him saying that he is going to retire after this fight. But you should already retire now if you're already thinking about retire, like you said, John. I know you're stepping in to fight Luke Barnett, who is a good striker and a good ground technician as he is right now. But you're going in to save a card. Don't do it. If you're just going to think about retiring after the fight, just retire now. Don't get into it. It's a great card. I cannot wait for this card because this is the card that starts at 10 a.m. and I get to wake up, make some breakfast, sit down, and watch some UFC for once. And the way he lost his last fight, I think he should have retired right then and there. And I understand maybe they're giving him extra money to save this fight, but it's Luke Barnett. Luke Barnett's coming off a loss to the guy who's fighting this weekend, Roger Narvaez, my hometown fighter, the hometown fighter down in here. And you're not saving that big of a fight unless they're paying you that much. Save your career, save your health, save anything crazy happening in the cage at this moment, and just retire. I know you want to retire off maybe a win or something like that, but just I think it'd be more respectful if you said that you retire now coming off that loss that you just did than going in, getting beat maybe again, or maybe getting beat even worse, and then retiring. Just retire on as you are right now and do what you have to do. I know it's probably one on his bucket list to fight in the Philippines. I know he's Filipino. He's a Filipino wrecking ball, or the Filipino wrecking machine, I believe it is. But I think you should just go to the event and announce your retirement. I don't even think he should be fighting in this card even at all.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it. Very few sports stories end where guys get to choose when they step away. We see it very rarely. We see, guys that go on bad losing streaks and they get cut, and we never see them again. In the NFL, we see guys hanging around for too long and being just pale versions of what they used to be and slowly fading away. I get that. This, Mark is taking the opportunity to say, you know what, I can determine when I step away, when I leave, and I choose to do it now. But like I said, I mean, it's not that he was at the top of his game and he's going, you know what, I'm at the top, I'm going to step away and live the rest of my life. He's been on a bad streak, and it's not getting better for him. And the fact that, like I said, when we first started talking about this, the fact that he's already decided that he's stepping away, to me, is a bad indication that this is just going to be, less of a focus for him in his camp, less of a focus for him in his training, and could possibly turn out very poorly for him. All these guys want to go out on top. They want to go out on win. Luke Barnett is a serious fighter. He's a serious contender. He's going to go in there not to give you your swan song and let you go out by knockout or go out by tapping him. He's going to go in there and try to send you out by knockout. He's going to go in there and try to send you out by tapping you out. And you know what? It's been done every which way in the last couple of fights that he's had. So this is definitely a situation where I think the people around Mark should have tried to influence him a little bit more. I'd never be the one to say you need to retire, but this is probably not the best idea for him. But you know what? Like we were saying earlier with CM Punk, more power to you, man. You do what you need to do. Make it happen for yourself. You deserve to make those choices. But it's definitely one of those things that I don't know, man. I don't know if I would have done it if I were him.
Yeah,
but
no,
go ahead.
He's coming off 3 straight losses, and they're all first round finishes. One's a knockout and 2 are submissions. I don't want to see Mark Munoz. I like Mark Munoz. He's a good fighter. He had a great fight with Chris Lieben and finishing Chris Lieben, and then he was that fighter that kind of put Chris Weidman over the edge and let him get his title shot and everything like that. I do like Mark Munoz. I just don't want to see him get pulverized in the cage one more time and then retire. I'd just like to see him retire and just be done with it.
Yeah, and we have an announcement here from a friend of the show and a friend of Crossbones MMA, Miss Mayhem, who is Megan Goodwin. Sorry, I don't know, just choked on something there. Has announced that she's going to no longer be cutting down and trying to get into the lower weight division. She's going to continue her career at featherweight with Invicta, which I think we kind of saw coming. She struggled a couple times with some weight cuts, and you know, I think she'll be much more effective at the featherweight division or in the featherweight division. So good for her making a smart choice, not putting herself in danger, not risking health benefits or health maladies, so to speak, by continuing to try to make that cut. So that just came out, and like I said, we wish her the best of luck. I think a couple of us here have spoken to her, and she's been on the show, but. We do have a fight this weekend. We'll preview it obviously a little bit more on Saturday, but let's do a quick rundown. Everyone say hi to my beautiful wife, Kathy. So let's talk about the UFC this weekend. We have a pretty sick card going down this weekend, and it starts off. Sorry, let me just pull this up over here. I clicked on the wrong thing, and all hell breaks loose. All right. So we have on the early prelims, starting off at 6:30 here on it looks like UFC Fight Pass, which their Fight Pass cards have been dropping off a little bit, which a lot of people are complaining about when they have the subscription, but. That's something that we're going to have to, wait on with them. But Sergio Pettis, brother of headliner Anthony Pettis, is going to be stepping back in the cage against Ryan Benoit, babyface. You see, if you're watching at home, you can see it on the screen here. But Sergio Pettis is impressive, 12-1, fighting obviously out of Duke Rufus's Rufus Sport in where the hell is Rufus Sport? Milwaukee, sorry, just totally blanking there. And I'll be taking on Ryan Benoit, 7-3. Benoit is finishing his fights at a high rate, 7-3. His wins, 86% of his wins are coming by knockout or TKO. But if you look down a little bit further, and for those of you that are watching, but for those of you listening, Sergio Pettis is active, and he lands an average of 4.39 significant strikes per minute compared to 1.89 for Ryan. So Ryan is more of a power shot guy. He's gonna throw those punches to take you out. But Sergio is active. He overwhelms. He comes on strong. So this should be a fun fight to watch. A fun a good one to see. We then have Jake Lindsay taking on Joe Duffy. Joe Duffy is famous for, Nick, do you know?
No, I do not.
He's the last man who beat Conor McGregor, making his UFC. Yeah, he's going to be making his UFC debut. Irish Joe Duffy, 12-1, taking on Jake Lindsay, the Librarian, at 9-2. Hopefully, the Librarian isn't there to put us to sleep. But Joe Duffy has been an exciting fighter. I've actually seen some of his fights. So he's going to be a good one. It's a little bit of a shame that they have him down here on the Fight Pass prelim, but that might also be partly because of his opponent. We will then be taking a gander at some women here. Germaine de Rotame is taking on Larissa Pacheco. Now, Germaine de Rotame is ranked 15th in the women's 135 division, so she's at the tail end of the shared rankings at 4-3. Now, Larissa Pacheco, this might be her debut. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to double check on that. But she's coming in at 10-1. How she does when she gets in the cage is going to be an interesting thing to see. She's got 60% of her, so 6 out of her 10 wins have come by submission, 4 by TKO or knockout. Jermaine Duratame is a good fighter. I think the 4-3 record is a little bit deceiving. What we could definitely be seeing here is somebody moving out as somebody comes in, and that could be Pacheco moving into the rankings here as Duratame moves on her way out. We saw her. I can't think off the top of my head recently. Like I said, unfortunately, I clicked on something and shut shit down, so I apologize for not having more notes in front of me here. But Jermaine Duratame is a name that has been around for a little while, despite, like I said, the 4-3 record. So we'll see how this goes. But that's the UFC Fight Pass card. We then move on to the FX prelims on FX. I'm guessing Fox Sports 1, because I don't see them usually on FX. Is it going to be on FS1 or on FX?
I think it's going to be on FX because there is another sporting event on FX one day.
All right, that makes sense then. And I'm not sure which direction we're going here in the card, so we'll just go this way. But we have Hands of Stone, Sam Stout taking on Ross Pearson. The Real Deal is obviously well known from his time on The Ultimate Fighter. He's had some great fights. His last fight, I believe, was that his knockout loss to Al Iaquinta. Was that the last time we saw Ross Pearson?
Yes.
I believe so. And he'll be taking on Sam Stout, who I'm not sure the last time we saw Sam. But Sam's obviously been around for a while. This is a good fight. These guys are bangers. They stand in front of him. This should be an action-packed fight, and I don't see this really going much further than the second round. I have a feeling somebody's going to sleep or somebody's going to be put down here. This should be a good fight. Now, when you get two guys that are 155 pounds, same height, same reach, and they like to throw, we're talking fireworks and we're talking an exciting fight. Hopefully that's what we'll see here. Neither guy's really looking to take this to the ground, or typically don't, so we'll have to take a look here. We have your guy, Roger Navarez, the silverback, taking on the Spartan, Elias Theodorou. Now, Elias was on The Ultimate Fighter, I believe, the Nations, Canada versus Australia, 10-0. He's putting his undefeated record on the line against Roger, who's 7-1 coming into this. Now, you've seen Roger before. You actually did an interview with him for Crossbones, so you might know a little bit more about him. But his last one was his UFC debut, correct?
Yes. No, actually, it wasn't his UFC debut. His debut, what was it? I forgot who it was against, but he ended up losing in the second round. It was, why can't I think? It was the guy who fought Daniel Cormier, Patrick Cummings. He fought Patrick Cummings and lost round 2 to TKO. And then in Austin, the card that I ended up going to and ended up talking to him, he fought Luke Barnett in a split decision win in the third round. In the third round, actually, he caught him with a mean right kick to the leg, overhand right, and rocked Luke Barnett, and then ended up controlling the rest of the fight. So.
All right, gotcha. Sorry about that. And now, Theodorou is no joke. He's a very exciting fighter. He's a very good fighter. Extremely skilled when it comes to his striking. He's smooth, and that's what really puts his opponents in danger. Is he transitions well. He's averaging 3 takedowns a fight with an accuracy of 60%. So typically, more times than not, if he tries to take you down, he's going to take you down. Now, with that, the silverback has been on the ground. He's not terrible from it. He's got a couple wins by submission. He's got more wins by submission than Elias does. So this could be another fight where they look to stay on their feet and really shaping up to be a decent prelim card. This whole card is actually shaping up to really be exciting. We get another guy who I love watching, and that's Darren Cruikshanks. He's going to be fighting. I'm not even going to attempt to say the first name because I can't think of it off the top of my head. But he's going to be fighting Darush. Darren Cruikshanks is exciting to me because of the techniques he throws. He's all about the kicks. He's a lot of spinning techniques. Flashy, but he's effective. He's been fighting for his entire life and knows what to do when he's in the cage. His last fight, if I remember right, ended by eye poke, correct?
Yes.
That's what I thought. and unfortunately that one, I forget who that was with, but it didn't seem like it was really going his way. But the Darren Cruikshanks, when he gets in there, like I said, and I put it out there every time he fights, probably one of the more exciting fighters for me to watch because of the kicking techniques. Coming from a Taekwondo background myself, I absolutely appreciate when a guy throws techniques correctly and throws them effectively, and Darren Cruikshanks definitely does that. He's super exciting. I'm not going to lie, Darush 9-1, very good in his own right. He's more of a submission guy. Over 50% of his fights ending by submission. So we'll have to see if Cruikshanks can keep it standing and use his striking, or if Darush can get it down to the ground. Now, we also have on the card Josh Copeland. Holy shit, Cuddly Bear looks big in that picture against Jared Rochel, the Big Show. Now, can we have multiple Big Shows? Big Show is wrestling. He's the other. He's WWE, so I guess that's all right. But 11-2, Jared Rochel against Josh Copeland, 9-1. These guys are 245 pounds and 265 pounds. These guys aren't coming into sub, although Copeland's got several wins by submission, but these guys are probably coming in to stand and bang. They're looking to go put somebody to sleep. Whether these guys can go a full 3 rounds is beyond me. I think these guys are going to be, putting it out there for the first round, trying to lay each other out, and then we'll have to see what happens if it gets out of the first round. But that concludes the FX prelims. So far between the early prelims on Fight Pass and the FX prelims, that's a decent night of fights. So just right there, those fights are worth staying or tuning in and watching. That's a good Fox card if you ask me. That could definitely be a lineup all by itself. And we haven't even started talking about the pay-per-view yet. And the pay-per-view it's basically one big fight after another. We have Chris Carriasso, ranked number 10 in the 125-pound men's division, taking on Henry Cejudo, the Messenger. Henry Cejudo tried to make weight several times for this division. He could not make it. Had an impressive fight in his last outing, in 7-0. He's a highly decorated Olympic wrestler. So we're going to get to see, hopefully, if he can make the weight, a great fight against Kamikaze Chris Carriasso, 17-6 in his own right. A lot of his fights go to the distance. Cejudo, I think, is going to have no problem with the cardio taking to the distance, but I don't think he's going to want to let it get there. He's looking to make a statement and show that he, can absolutely make a title run. This is a great fight to open the card up with. I think people will definitely be rocking and rolling for this one. I'm not sure if either of these guys are from Texas. I know sometimes they tend to load their cards up, but this is going to be an exciting one to see. Let's see if he can make weight first. That's going to be the big question. Then we have 2 big guys. Number 8, Roy Nelson, Big Country, taking on Alistair Overeem, ranked number 9. These guys, the names speak for themselves. Roy, Big Country, 21-10. Coming off of a couple of shaky fights. Alistair Overeem, again, another guy that, his fights have been less than outstanding, looking to really put on that dominant performance. And, taking out a guy like Big Country could definitely, boost you and put you back into conversations when it comes to, the title picture. These guys are big guys, and are we under any disillusion that these guys are not going to be in there trying to knock each other out? Both of them have phenomenal ground games, but realistically, do we see it going there? I don't know, Nick. What do you think about these 2?
I'm loving this fight. I totally forgot this fight was on the card until I opened it up before the show. Alistair Overeem versus Roy Nelson, I'm really excited for. Are we going to see Big Country make his comeback with his crazy overhand right and see him jump on the cage and rub his belly? Or are we going to see Alistair Overeem come back and try to go for another title shot eventually? But the fight before that, the Chris Carriasso fight, I love the flyweights. I'm like one of maybe 3 UFC fans that really enjoy the UFC flyweight division. It's my division. I walk around 140 pounds. I would cut down to 125 pounds in a minute. So when I'm watching it, I just picture myself in there getting my butt kicked. But I'm liking Chris Carriasso. I think he can make a good title run. He's a very fast striker. But I'm excited for this heavyweight fight. I really do want to see Alistair Overeem hopefully come back after all the adversity that he had to deal with, and then hopefully introduce Brock Lesnar back into the UFC in the near future. Hopefully.
I don't know. It's being talked about. Now, this next fight is going to be a sick fucking fight, man. Think about when this fight was announced, people were like, holy shit. Number 1 ranked Johnny Hendricks against number 5 ranked Matt Brown. This is going to be insane. Now, have you seen the pictures of Johnny Hendricks? He is looking sharp. He's on weight already. Fucking definition, six-pack. Dude, he is hyped and ready to go for this fight. He is looking to get back into form and get that title back. But Matt Brown is no joke. Matt Brown will put you to sleep, and he's looking to do it. This guy is looking to put himself in the title hunt, and taking out Johnny Hendricks would definitely do that. This is going to be a crazy fight. What do you think about this one?
I'm really excited to see Johnny Hendricks back in the cage, just to see what he is willing to do, to get back at his title that he thinks that he did not lose to Robbie Lawler. But like you said, he just posted a picture of on his Twitter of him shredded, man. He looks really good. Actually, in the Embedded episode, he opened up his own steakhouse, and he said that's his place to go to eat because they help portion control for him. They give him lean meat. They give him the vegetables that he needs and everything like that. And he's been doing really good on his diet, apparently, to the Embedded videos that I've watched. So I'm kind of excited to see how Johnny Hendricks is going to look on this scale. Is he going to make weight the first time or not going to wait the second time? How is he going to look in the cage? Is he going to be faster with the power, or is he going to have more power than he has? But like you said, it's Matt Brown. He will put you to sleep whenever he wants to. I like Matt Brown. I was really, really interested in this fight. I think Matt Brown should have won against Robbie Lawler when they first fought. I kind of want to see Matt Brown win this fight and fight Robbie Lawler again for a title shot. Johnny Hendricks, I do like Big Rig. He's a really good fighter. I respect him a lot. He's a Texas boy. He's from Dallas. But I got to go with Matt Brown. I really do. I want to see someone else in the title picture. I'm tired of seeing this Robbie Lawler, Johnny Hendricks discussion. I want to see Rory McDonald. He's already getting his title shot. But I want to see that extra person in the division that challenge for the belt. And I think Matt Brown could be that guy.
Yeah, I was just going to actually say, are you tipping your hand when it comes to the Robbie Lawler, Rory McDonald fight? You know, when you're saying you want to see one of these guys fight Robbie Lawler for the title, you think Lawler's going to?
I want to see them fight anybody for the belt, but I think Robbie Lawler is going to get the nod on that fight. But that's another discussion in the future.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be
another sick fight.
Yeah, that's going to be a crazy fight. But I think Robbie Lawler can pull it off. But I don't want to see another Johnny Hendricks Robbie Lawler fight. I would like to see someone else, and maybe Johnny Hendricks Rory McDonald. We never know, but I want to see another contender and someone else get a title shot, and I want to see Matt Brown do it.
Oh, absolutely. Now, we also have coming up on this card the co-main event, the 5-round women's strawweight title fight between champion Carla Esparza and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Now, here's the thing. Carla is clearly going to take this fight or be looking to take this fight down to the ground. Joanna is clearly going to be looking to keep this on her feet. Now, it's a battle of wills, and whose will is going to be able to come out. Now, Joanna just came out of her last fight against Claudia Gadelha. Gadelha tried multiple times in that fight to take the fight to the ground. Joanna was able to maintain it on her feet and won a close, controversial decision. Will she be able to do it again and take the title from Carla? We'll have to wait to find out. But what do you think, Nick? Is Carla going to lose the belt this Saturday night to number 1 ranked Joanna?
I don't think so. I think Carla's not going to lose the belt. I think she can end up taking it down and grinding out a decision win against Jędrzejczyk. I finally said it right for the first time. But Joanna is a monster. She's a great Muay Thai fighter. She used to fight Muay Thai before mixed martial arts. Apparently she had 70-something fights in Muay Thai. That's insane. That's a lot of Muay Thai fights. But Carla Esparza is that great wrestler. We've seen her control Thug Rose Namajunas in her fight and control her, take her down and control her on the ground, and end up getting a submission win. And that's what I think we're going to see from Carla. Carla's a dominant champion. I don't like her attitude, but I do like her fighting style, and I think Cookie Monster can pull off a win against this, and then probably fight. I'm guessing it's going to be the winner of the Paige. If Paige Van Zandt wins, either she'll face the winner of that fight, or there's another women's fight that I can't think of off the top of my head, but she'll be defending her belt this weekend and defending it again against someone else in the future.
I think the next fighter is the winner of the Joanne Calderwood fight.
That's it.
I think I think JoJo should have been closer to this belt opportunity than she is, but I think that's where they're going. But you know what? I could be completely wrong. I didn't think Paige was ready to step up in competition to Felice yet. She could totally prove me wrong, but if she wins, the UFC seems to really want to back her and push her as a face of a division here. So it could get interesting quickly, and with a bunch of people in the mix there. But we knew that was going to happen coming off of the Ultimate Fighter season that they did. That we were going to have a bunch of women in the mix, very very quickly, and then it was going to be kind of like a logjam at the top. But this fight is very interesting. I can't wait to see it. This is going to be an exciting fight. And you know what? I know a lot of people, shit on women's MMA. I fucking love it. These girls are constantly bringing it. They are exciting. They are nonstop action. I think this is going to be a great fight. But another sick fight, and the main event is a 5-round lightweight title fight between Anthony Showtime Pettis and number 1 ranked Rafael Dos Anjos. Anthony Showtime Pettis, 18-2. Dos Anjos, 23-7. Pettis, 56% of his wins by knockout or TKO, 17% for Dos Anjos, 28% sub-wins for Pettis, 35% for Dos Anjos. Dos Anjos fights almost half the time go to decision. Very few times they go to decision for the champ here. Now, Anthony Pettis is probably, if not one of, he is the most dynamic fighter in the UFC today. His striking is off the charts. His ground game is off the charts. He's inventive. He is creative in there. He looks for opportunities. Look at the Gilbert Melendez fight. Gilbert Melendez came out and looked like he had a decent game plan and was pushing him. The second Gil slipped a tiny bit, he jumped all over him and put an end to the fight. This one is going to be a good one. Dos Anjos is a worthy contender, but I don't think he's the guy that's going to take the belt away from Anthony. What do you think about this one, Nick?
I really enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy this fight. I really do like Anthony Pettis. His nickname Showtime, he has it for a reason. He does these crazy out of nowhere kicks, like we see him kick off the cage, which has been the highlight. But the UFC slogan this month has been "Welcome to this show," and we're going to get a show out of this fight. We have RDA, who was not the favorite against Ben Henderson, the person that has never been finished by strikes before. And what did he do? He knocked Ben Henderson out. He got a good TKO on a great challenger as Ben Henderson, as a great competitor as Ben Henderson is. I think RDA can do it, but do I think he's going to do it? No, I think this is his taste at the belt, and I think he'll climb himself back up to the title shot. But I really do think Anthony Pettis is going to take this win. He's a fighter that adapts to survive in a way, like you said, against his last opponent. Why can't I think of his name right now? You just said it.
Gil Melendez.
Gilbert Melendez. He was getting picked apart getting picked apart the whole first round, and then the second round he came out, he saw what he was doing, what Melendez was doing, and then ended up capitalizing, getting that guillotine choke. He adapts to survive, and I think he's going to do that against RDA. I think RDA is going to rush him. He's going to push him against the cage. He's going to try to make it a good brawling fight, but I think Anthony Pettis is going to end up surviving and then ending up showing that he is a champion and that he will be retaining his belt that night.
Yeah, and the thing with the Gilbert Melendez fight is Gil put the game plan out there on how to work Pettis, but it's going to take an extremely talented, extremely focused fighter to to do that, to go balls to the wall the whole time, really be in his face, and not slip up. And that's the thing. Anybody can get in there and pressure Anthony and really push him, but it's that one slip up, that one misstep that he makes you pay on. Like I said, he's probably, if not the most dynamic, one of the most dynamic fighters in the UFC today. And the reason I think he doesn't get more attention is because he is so often injured, and that's been the problem with him. But the more he gets in there, the more we see of him, I think the more we're going to understand that this guy is the real deal. This guy is, here, in my opinion, to stay for a long while. I don't think I see anybody really in his division right now that is going to put it on him. And with that said, I don't think it's going to be Dos Anjos. I think Dos Anjos is a worthy opponent. He deserves his title shot. I think he's done the things he needs to do to step in there. But just because you've done the things you need to do to step in there does not mean you're going to walk out of there victorious. And I think that's going to be the scenario here on Saturday with Pettis coming back out and retaining that belt.
Yeah, exactly. And Pettis, I don't know. He could be that top pound-for-pound ranking fighter that we've been talking so much crap about the pound-for-pound ranking, but I think he could be higher up there. He's ranked number 5 right now, and if he's a dominant champion. He's a very good champion, but like you said, he's always injured. He's always out. But if he stays healthy and continues doing like you said, I think he can wipe out the division. Do I think he could beat Khabib Nurmagomedov? Yes. Do I think he can beat Gilbert Melendez again? Yes. Ben Henderson? Yes. The whole division, I think he can beat. The only competition I see him beating, which he got a great body shot against, is Cowboy Cerrone. Cowboy is a warhorse. He goes in to fight, and he will go in to fight. And I think Cowboy, honestly, is the only one that can give him the tiniest bit of competition. But like I said, he finished Cowboy in the first round. So I think RDA is a very worthy opponent, but we're gonna have to see, will Showtime be stopped, and will RDA be the new champion?
Yeah, and just he's ranked number 5 in the pound for pound, which we talked about earlier, the pound for pound rankings and what they mean. But just looking, behind Pettis, we have Dos Anjos, Nurmagomedov, we have Cerrone, Melendez, Henderson, Johnson, Michael Johnson, Josh Thompson, Edison Barboza, Miles Jury, and Eddie Alvarez rounding out the top 10. Do you, with the side, aside from Khabib and Donald, I don't see anybody in that list that's going to push Anthony Pettis. I think those two guys have the opportunity to push the fight, but I don't know if they even have the opportunity to finish the fight or the ability to finish that fight.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, the only person that I thought would have a good advantage against him was Edson Barboza, but we saw that if you just rush him like Michael Johnson did and just stay on top of him, he's gonna get beat. So out of the whole top 10, I don't see anyone beating him but Khabib or Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah, so it's I think we're slowly getting into Ronda Rousey territory here with Anthony Pettis. Talking about what's next for him. Is he gonna clear out the division? I mean, his division's got a lot of fighters in there. He's got a lot of talent. Bobby Green's number 11. Jim Miller's super talented at number 12. Tony Ferguson moved up to 13 from being previously unranked. He's a guy to keep an eye on. He's definitely skilled. Jorge Masvidal dropped down, and Ally Quinta's in the division. Although he dropped down a spot, he's still an up-and-comer. So, I mean, there's guys that are coming in, and there's people that are filling in the rankings behind them and, filling in the division behind them. But like I said, I think right now he's just on a different level altogether. So it'll be interesting, but I think the two champions, out of the two champions that are fighting on Saturday, I think this one is more of a certainty of who's coming out. And you know what? I'll be talking to you guys on Wednesday like what an asshole I was. I can't believe I said he was certainly going to win. He got knocked out 8 seconds into the fight. But, anything could happen. But I think out of the two, this is the one that if I had to put my money on, I'd say Anthony Pettis is retaining his title. I think Joanna Jędrzejczyk's got more of a chance to take the fight away from Esparza than Dos Anjos does Pettis. Now, on here, I know usually we do the odds. Who's the favorite, who's not the favorite. Because obviously Eddie's not here today, there's nobody to compare it to. But I'll give you a quick rundown. Pacheco, de Randamie, what do you think?
I'm gonna go de Randamie.
Pacheco is actually the favorite. It's close to minus 155 to plus 135. Remember, she is 10-1 coming into this fight. We have Lindsay and Joe Duffy. Let's see if we can do this shit again. Oh, I can't do that. So we got.
I'm gonna go Duffy
Lindsay and Joe Duffy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joe Duffy is a heavy favorite, minus 550 to the plus 420 for Jake Lindsay. So we know how the odds makers are going with that one. We then have Sergio Pettis and Ryan Benoit. Where are you going with that?
I'm gonna go Pettis.
Yeah, Pettis is also a big favorite, minus 500 to Benoit's plus 385. Those are actually, we got one more favorite that's a little bit bigger, but those guys are up there. We got a couple that are real lopsided. We have Jared Rosholt, versus Josh Copeland. Where are you going with this one?
I'm gonna go Jared, just by looks alone.
Jared is the favorite, minus 310 to the plus 260 for Copeland. Darren Cruikshanks to Dariush.
I'm going to go Dariush.
Cruikshank's actually the favorite, but it's a close one, minus 145 to a plus 125. Elias Theodoro versus Navarez.
I'm going to go with my boy Navarez, but I know he's probably not the favorite.
No, he's definitely not the favorite. Minus 320 for Elias. Navarez is a plus 270. Ross Pearson versus Sam Stout.
Ross Pearson.
Ross Pearson's a favorite, minus 360, so a pretty heavy favorite to Sam Stout's plus 295. Flyweight battle between Carriazo and Henry Cejudo.
Carriazo.
Considering Carriazo's ranked 10 and Henry Cejudo is not ranked in this division, this is the most lopsided of the night, along with Duffy Lindsay. Cejudo is a minus 550 favorite to Carriazo's plus 420. So that is the biggest swing of the card to go along with Joe Duffy and Jake Lindsay. We have Alistair Overeem and Roy Nelson.
See, this one I'm confused about, but I'm going to go Alistair Overeem.
The Reem is the favorite at minus 200 to plus 170 for Roy Nelson. We then move up. This is a good fight. Johnny Hendricks, Matt Brown.
Johnny Hendricks.
Johnny Hendricks is the favorite, minus 360 to plus 295 for Matt Brown, for the Immortal. We have the title fight. Now, this is a close fight, let me tell you. Carla Esparza and Joanna Jędrzejczyk, what are you going with?
I'm going with Carla.
Carla is slightly by a minus 158 to Joanna's plus 138. So that's a pretty close one. And then we have the main event of the evening, Pettis and Dos Anjos.
Showtime.
Showtime is a heavy favorite, minus 320 to Dos Anjos, plus 350. So once again, those guys are the odds makers are heavily in the corner of the champion there. But that's all 5 rounds that we have. Now let me ask you this, because still kind of in this topic, but also wrapping up the show here. Carla Esparza has come out and said that she doesn't feel that her fight with Joanna has been pushed enough, it hasn't been highlighted enough, hasn't been marketed enough. Truth behind that, or just her being cranky?
A little bit of truth behind that, because look, look at the main event. You have Anthony Showtime Pettis. The slogan of the UFC right now is "Welcome to the show." So they're going to push his nickname and that together simultaneously just to push this card. But I do think they could have promoted her a little bit more. They had Tough 20, which was a great season of Tough. It was all women's card with the brand new champion. I think they could have pushed her a little bit more, but I think she is being a little bit cranky. You already have your spotlight. You've been in the embedded. You're on the poster for the fight. You should just let it go. You're being pushed. You're the brand new weight class. Just make a statement, and then you'll be pushed that little bit more. And then maybe you'll be headlining cards on a pay-per-view or FS1 for that matter, or even Fox. So I would just say be patient for Carla. She can do it if she just becomes that dominant champion that I think she can be.
Yeah, and I get what she's saying, because I'll be honest with you, I don't think this card really got a huge push that, a big marketing push that they could have put in behind it. So I don't think it's her fight specifically that's not being pushed. I think the whole card really wasn't, which is shocking, because this is a top to bottom, this is a good-looking card. It could turn out to be a bad card, but on paper, this is going to be a phenomenal night of fights. So I don't know if I would say that her fight wasn't being promoted. I think she's getting screwed with some of the Reebok stuff. She doesn't have a deal, an exclusive deal with like Paige Van Zandt does, other fighters do that aren't title holders. So I understand that, but in terms of just her fight not being pushed itself, I'm gonna call bullshit on that.
Yeah.
But
I'm just gonna say this little quick thing. You have basically, and on people's opinions, 3 champions fighting on this card. You have Johnny Hendricks, you have Carlos Esparza, and you have Anthony Pettis. Just depending on if you think Robbie Lawler won that fight or not. So technically, you have 3 champions on the card, but then, like you said, with the Carlos Esparza Reebok deal, that kind of didn't push her that much. They are pushing, opinionally, the prettier Paige Van Zandt with that Reebok deal. But I don't know. It's kind of weird, but it is a great card and everything like that. But a little bit of breaking news. I got Roger Narvaez on Facebook as a friend. I was trying to get him on here on actually this show as a interview to do on the show, but he declined because he was doing a lot of media with us in town, or with this news in town. But he just sent a picture saying that let's see what this whole Reebok deal is about with the UFC athletic outfitting policies of 2015. So I'm guessing he's going to figure out what his Reebok deal is, and maybe we can get him on the show after his fight and see what that's all about.
Yeah, because that doesn't set in place for a while, but
Yeah.
we'll have to see. Yeah, I think the more that we see fighters get exclusive deals, I think the less it's going to go into the pot of money for each the fight card. But we'll have to see. I can't see if if Paige gets an exclusive deal, if she's also going to get money because she's the 8th ranked fighter and she's on the fight card. I'm not sure how that's going to work. That'll be to me that's kind of double dipping. So I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I got nothing else for today's show. Anything else you want to touch on before we wrap?
No, everything's good.
All right. Well, we'll definitely be back on Saturday with Eddie Law. We'll check out. We'll see if Nick here can join us on Saturday. But as always, you can follow me. I am at MMA John G. You can follow Eddie. He is at eLaw31. Nick is at Nick X Micro, and of course the station is at Crossbones MMA. 2 of our writers at CBMMA_Don and at SPWAT1983 for Jesse. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher by looking up Crossbones MMA Radio. Our feeds are up there. And don't forget to go to crossbonesmma.com, go to the Store and Affiliates page, or you can click on the banner for F3 Foods for Amazon.com or for Troxafen. But until Saturday, I don't know if there's any other shows that are going to happen between now and then. But if they don't, for Nick, for Crossbones, and for Eddie, wherever he is out there, this is John saying, don't just have a great day, make it one.